From being a prized possession to becoming a consolation prize, literally the WWE Championship, the WWE title has fallen so hard. And honestly, I'm just going to be honest, like it's kind of come a long way in terms of like how it's lost its prestige. And am I the only one who kind of feels this way about this? Do I feel like in some way that they don't feel as important or as special as they used to feel? Even like if it was just a few years ago. But nowadays, they just don't feel like they're anything really worth like seeing on somebody. But before the video starts, if you guys could please like, comment, and subscribe, I really would appreciate it. Write down some feedback below on the comments because whatever you guys have, and if you guys have any ideas or if you guys would like to see any more type of videos, please make sure you comment down below. I really would appreciate it. You know, all the support really helps the channel grow. But with that being said, let's just get straight into the video. So the WWE Championships have been around for a long time. They're a staple in the WWE. And actually, it can go as far as back as like when Bruno Sammartino, in my eyes, was the first person to actually make it really big. You know, he had the longest title reign at the time. And yeah, sure, he did hold it for so many matches and he was able to hold it for a long time. He really did make it become something special. And then, you know, of course, we can't deny, like, when guys like Hulk Hogan and, you know, Ultimate Warrior, Randy Savage, all these kind of other people that came in and they were able to hold the championship. See, being a champion back then, it actually meant that you really worked hard for it and you were just looked at as the best. You were looked at as this guy as you were going to be somebody who really actually mattered in the company, and it actually made you a bigger deal than it really was. And then we also can't deny, like, once we got to the Attitude Era and even Ruthless Aggression Era, let's just call it what it is, the championships really became more desirable and more valuable. We had guys really competing and working hard trying to get whatever championship it was, whether it was the WWE champion or the World Heavyweight Champion. And I'm just going to go on record and say this. The WWE Championship, that spinner belt that Cena came up with, you guys already know how much of a fan I am of Cena, but seeing that spinner belt literally was made for him. I feel like if anybody else held that spinner belt, it just didn't really feel right seeing them with it. But that spinner belt literally was iconic. And people didn't really like the spinner belt, but Cena didn't care. And WWE, I don't think, cared either because they knew that they could make money off of it because kids would buy it, and that's the thing. They knew kids would love it because of the fact that this was something so special at the time, and it just kind of is almost like a gimmick in a way. And that World Heavyweight Championship back in 2005, 2006, like when Batista was holding it, it just looked so cool. Like Batista looked like he was the guy to hold that championship. And it just looked like it was just such a cool, simple design because it just, you know, was a big gold, as they called it. And yes, I really enjoyed the championships from that time. And then also we had to look at the champions who were had. We had guys like Randy Orton and Brock Lesnar who became the youngest champions in history. And then we had guys like Triple H who had at the time the longest title reign. You know, say what you will about this title reign. They call it the Reign of Terror, as most people will call it. But this was pretty unique to see just how he was able to make it in some way a little bit more valuable holding the world championship because of the fact that, you know, he would beat anybody in his way. But obviously we know the title reign wasn't perfect. And then we had Chris Jericho, where in the same night he was able to beat Stone Cold and The Rock, and he became the undisputed champion of the world, and he was able to hold on to two belts at the same time. You know, we had, you know, of course, we had Ric Flair, who had the most title reigns ever. And then we also had John Cena, who actually became the 17-time champion. And we just had all these kind of things that really did matter with what being a champion really was. But then we also got to take in consideration what about CM Punk's title reign. We had CM Punk who held the championship for a long time. It's really just unique to see like how there were so many variables to really determine like what makes you a great champion. And that's the thing. This wasn't the only championships that did matter in the WWE besides the WWE and the World Heavyweight Championship. We also had the U.S. Championships. We had the Intercontinental Championships. We had the Tag Team Championships. We had the Women's Championships. And there were a lot of championships at the time. Now, the thing is they were so cool because it almost made it seem like, everybody had a spot they can fight for to be a champion. And it really was really cool to see. And of course, we can't deny the fact that, sometimes they would combine the championships and make them into one. And then they would also try to create more championships. And it just really was cool to see just how this was something that really made some of the guys in the locker room actually want to fight to be the best, to prove that they are the best. So again, yeah, you have all these variables with, when it comes to being a champion. Is it, are you going to go based off how many title reigns you've had? Are you going to go based off how long you've had it? Are you going to go based off, are you actually a fighting champion? Are you going to show up? And that was another thing was we used to see these kind of things happen on a Monday Night Raw or a Friday Night SmackDown, and they would actually feel like they mattered to see. We would want to tune in and see, like, okay, like, who's going to win this match? And sometimes whoever was defending the championship would lose the championship, and they would actually give it up on a random Monday Night Raw or Friday Night SmackDown. And it actually used to kind of feel like it was special to see because, it didn't have to happen at a pay-per-view. And honestly, guys, one story that I can remember so fondly of was when Daniel Bryan was trying to overcome all the odds. So you remember when he was trying to become the champion and he just like was having to go through it all for the last like 7-8 months, like with the authority, and then he finally won it at WrestleMania. And that's what makes it so special is the moment that they finally become a champion because it's the payoff. Nowadays, these guys win championships and it just kind of feels empty. You just kind of like, oh, cool, they won their championship, but you don't really feel that like special feeling like you used to feel. Daniel Bryan winning his championship at WrestleMania 30 was really special. Or Jeff Hardy when he finally became the WWE champion. It was special. And it really was something really just something so just unique to see at the time, and again, it just goes back to what I was saying, like about like how it just felt more prestigious at the time. You had the right guys to hold the championship. For example, some of my favorite champions were JBL, John Cena, Batista, Randy Orton, Brock Lesnar, Jericho, like all these guys, they were some of my favorite champions. And even Edge was really a good champion at one point too. And that's the thing. It just made it feel like as if it really mattered. And also what it was involved in the storyline. It made it actually feel like it was worth going for. So I'm saying all these things, right? I'm saying all these things. Well, what exactly is the problem with the championships nowadays? Oh boy, there's kind of a few things that are wrong. For one, a lot of people have been saying there's too many championships nowadays, which I do think in some way there kind of is. Now, Roman Reigns did come out and say that the World Heavyweight Championship, the one that he's currently holding, he did say that they made that championship because it's for the loser bracket, which it kind of feels like as if like he buried that championship. And I know that was 2 years ago he said that, and now he's holding the championship, but it still does make it feel like if that's really why they made it, because of the fact that Roman at the time was beating everybody and he was always going to be the champion no matter what happened. So that's another complaint I see. And now they're creating the women's U.S. champions. They're creating women's intercontinental championships. They're creating all these kind of championships. And it just feels like as if it's like, really? Like, do we need all these championships? I don't know. And the second reason I'm seeing that a lot of people have a problem with, and that is the championships aren't defended enough times. So let's just go on record and say this. Liv Morgan has been champion for about 50 something days now. She's been champion since WrestleMania, and she has not defended her championship once. And see, this is embarrassing because if this would happen back then you would be stripped of the title. Like, that's literally how it was. Like, if these guys would not defend their championship, or like if they had to like let it relinquish it because they were like injured or something, they would lose the championship. And that actually made it kind of feel like, like it was taken like a big serious. It was taken more seriously. Nowadays, it's like as if it's just kind of treated as like a prop, because Liv Morgan has held it for so long and she hasn't even defended it. And the fact is they don't even have any storyline plans with her. And that's even crazier to say. So yeah, that's another thing, is that there's not many title defenses, and that's the thing. We don't see them defended on like a Monday Night Raw or a Friday Night SmackDown just to say like, hey, if you really want to hang with me, then how about I defend this championship or anything like that. Like, no, we have to have it involved to build up for a PLE, which most of the time they don't even really matter when they do lose the championships, or if somebody wins the championship at a PLA. And I know we did have the U.S. title open challenge type thing that Sami Zayn and Carmelo Hayes was doing as well, but it just kind of didn't really feel like it really mattered as much with them doing it, because it was different when Cena did it back in 2015, because a guy like Cena was a bigger name and he used the championship to introduce new talent and get people to kind of like see like, oh, okay, he's taking a step back and he's going to, use it to elevate the championship. And, honestly, I know people will say, like, oh, but, that's what Sammy and Carmelo were doing in a way, too. But not really, because I'm not trying to be funny. They were defending it against jobbers. And then just another thing is it just kind of come out and they just don't really help elevate it. Like when I say elevate it, I mean like they actually don't make it seem like it's a bigger deal than it really is. It just kind of seems like if you're a championship champion nowadays, it's just kind of like oh well. I mean, yeah, like we're the champion, like, but that's really it. Like it's not treated like as if it's something really important and worth fighting for. And that's just kind of what really makes it weak in some way. And honestly, as funny as it may sound, I remember when JBL was the champion and he was always bragging about like how he was the longest champion title holder and like how he didn't lose the championship like 9 times like Triple H did and stuff like that. Like JBL was really making it seem like the championship was prestigious. And like I said, there's also a lot of other championships that are also not getting the same proper treatment. Like sometimes people will show up and not even actually be on screen with their championship to help actually like talk about it. And honestly, if you're just gonna hold it and just say you want to be a fighting champion and then just have open challenges every week, I mean, where's the story behind it? So that's also another factor we have to take in as well. It just doesn't really feel like as if there's anything like useful that's happening. It doesn't seem like it really benefits anybody. And I think even some of the wrestlers themselves have even said that they're not too happy about how they're going about like their championship reigns and stuff like that. Because that's the thing. We want to see like some memorable reigns, like the last reign that we've had that was memorable was Roman's reign for the last 4 years from 2020 to 2024. Now, Cody, when he won the championship from Roman, he kind of was boring for a while. And then, of course, his second and third title reign, it just kind of was like, like, does he really need this reign? And that's the thing. Like, these guys weren't really doing anything interesting with it. Yeah, sure, we had Cena last year with his 17 title reign, but I mean, are we really going to count Cena when, he was already on his way out? But like that's the thing. Like they don't have anything interesting to tell with these championships. Like Damian Priest when he won his championship, or like when CM Punk won his World Heavyweight Championship. And don't get me wrong, I like CM Punk, but, it just doesn't feel like it did anything special. And poor Drew, I mean, he got his championship. And yeah, sure, Drew did win his championship in 2020 in front of no audience and anything. And don't get me wrong, like when he won it earlier this year, it was kind of like a cool moment to just at least see that he won a championship. And yeah, it was great to see. But his title reign didn't really do anything. And of course, it was just kind of like a passing title, like, hey, here you go, here's your title, because then we're going to give it back to Cody. So it just doesn't mean like doesn't feel like it meant anything. Know down below, guys, like, what do you guys think about like the championships nowadays? But yeah, I just wanted to make this video. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. I really appreciate it, and I'll just catch you guys in the next one. Peace.